Hi, I'm Astrid. I am Waddle and Wool, and welcome back to my YouTube. So this is episode 2, and I think it's going to be a long one. I had originally planned for these to be every 2 weeks, but a month later, here I am, and I've got quite a bit to show you of various different levels, so bear with me. Okay, so first up, what's new? I have moved house, and I'm in this delightful apartment in the centre of Perth, which is where I live in Western Australia. It is absolutely beautiful. So I wanted to show you a couple of amazing features. So stay with me. Okay, so this is my room. It has a beautiful view. Behind are some terribly placed postcards from when I went to Paris. So moving through the rest of the house is, oh, there we go. Very nice, spacious, quite lovely, but we're up to my favourite part. So if we go outside, this is my balcony, and right behind me is the city of Perth. So this is one of the most amazing views. It's not quite a beach view, although I have already had one of those before when I lived at the beach, but I absolutely love it. I love the fact that I can just come out here and relax. I don't know if you can see, but down there is a little cafe. So I often hear, people talking, the clinking of food and, knives and forks. And it's just really relaxing. I love the Perth coffee culture. So I wanted to show you this and welcome you to my city. Okay, so now that we're back in my room, the other new things that have started to happen is I have started a brand new job. So I'm a high school teacher and I've moved schools. It's an interesting school. I haven't really done many days there, so I can't talk about it too much. But it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun and a massive opportunity for growth. So that's really what I love. I've also started to sew. So just here, if you can see, these are my sewing collection of fabrics. I'm on a really limited budget at the moment, so I have decided to do it a bit of a different way. I've instead gone to different opportunity shops or charity shops. We call them op shops in Australia, and I have gotten quite a few different bed sheets, and so now I'm making clothes out of bed sheets. Number 1, super comfortable. Number 2, super cheap. And number 3, because I'm such a beginner, I'm not very confident in using beautiful fabrics that cost $15 a meter to mess up, really. So I'm finding it a lot more confidence building that I can start with cheaper fabrics that are easily replaceable and I can just go out and get another one. So that's my little life hack for today. I have also rejoined Knit Crate. So I found that I was buying a lot of wool because I want wool all the time. And I previously had joined Knit Crate and there was a couple of boxes that I didn't quite like. They weren't really to my style. And being in Australia and Knit Crate being in America, they do have a destash program, but it's very expensive because you've got a couple of shipping costs. And it wasn't really worth it for me. So I stopped it, but I've missed it and I found that I was buying more yarn. So if I could budget, $40 a month for Knit Crate, which is roughly what it converts to in about Australian dollars, then I was fine. But if I was not with that budget, I was buying a lot more. And so I figured to curtail myself, to limit my spending and have it more as like a present to myself, that this would be a better way of doing it. I also am part of Jane Marty's or Tiny Toadstool Cottage's banned book subscription club. It's like a monthly subscription, and so I'm still part of that, and I actually have some mail to show you guys, so I'm going to unbox it with you guys today. Okay, so works in progress. That's been my life so far. Works in progress have been interesting. Like I said, this has been about a month later, and so I've finished some things and I'm started some things. So I've got a bit of a collection to show you. So I remember listening to Knitmore girls, Jasmine and Gigi. I love them. I think they're so cute. They remind me of me and my mum, and I love my mum. So it just makes me so happy to listen to them. But one time Jasmine answered like a listener question who said, how do you manage to get so much done? And Jasmine said, when you have a podcast that you've got to talk about your knitting in, you need to get some stuff done so you can talk about your knitting. And that's really ringing true to me, and it's given me a bit more of a goal to get things done, which I love. So thank you for encouraging me to knit more. Really, it's great. So the first thing I wanted to show you, I have kind of half completed it. Here we go. So this is upside down. This is the Math Mosaic scarf that I showed you last episode. So last one, I'd only gotten up to number 5. And I realized that it was going very, very slow. So my voice is really intellecting. Okay. I realized I was going very slow. And so instead I decided to lift my game. And I finished it. So the back of it looks hideous because it's all just strands of yarn bath, but the front of it looks beautiful and I'm so happy with it. This is the white is from Spotlight. It's a baby yarn. I think it's just home brand baby yarn. And the other, everything else is a Knit Crate mini. So Knit Crate used to send out their minis. You can see I've got a little collection of them here. So Knit Crate used to send out minis that would either complement or match their yarn of the month. They've stopped doing that since, but I still have a beautiful collection of them. And so we're going to talk about socks, but I don't tend to knit many socks. So I figured that either decorating with them or using them in something like mosaic knitting would really work well. So I absolutely love this. I am not going to love weaving in the ends. I'm very lazy with that sort of a thing, but I need to do it because my mum needs her scarf. So I started this scarf when my mum was teaching math. So my mum is a physics and chemistry teacher, and then she got the opportunity to teach math as well, and she asked for a scarf. So I made it for her, and of course now I finished it while she has stopped teaching math because that's the time that's going to happen. But no matter what, I'm going to hand it to her and give it to her with a lot of love. So maybe she can use it in her physics because it's all math-based, really. Okay, the next one I wanted to show you because I have been working on it. I think I'm going to keep showing this to you several times because it's taking a long time. So this is Cloud Drifts. It was named through help on Instagram. Thank you. I love this pattern. I'm really such a fan of it, which I think is good because it's my own work, so I should be. I really wanted a simple, there we go. I really wanted a simple knit together, yarn over, knit together, yarn over, or K2 together pattern. Something that would just be really delicate, really open. I wanted it to be something that I could wear to work. So for me, that means something that's going to be professional, something that's going to not be too revealing, that, you know, you can walk in front of 14-year-old students and they're not going to care. So originally when I had created this, the lace went down way too low. And I put it on and then I realized, nah, there's no way I can wear this anywhere, really. I'm just not, don't want to do that. So, sorry, my cat is trying to eat part of the end, which is very, very, very bad for cats. So trying to keep them alive. Okay, so I decided that because I didn't like the yoke, which obviously is at the top, and it's top down, I would rip the whole thing back. So I did. This has got short rows at the back in the ribbing to make it longer at the back, so it sits nicer, and now it's got a much, much nicer length of the yoke. It's going to be just plain stockinette. I'm thinking I might put some waist shaping in, but I think it depends on how it goes. So I'm going to wait until it gets over the bust before I decide that, because there's so much feature up here. I don't want it to become too fitted. I really do want it to be more like a summer tank that can look professional, maybe under a blazer. So that is Cloud Drifts. This is using Shalimar. Hang on, I've got it written down. Shalimar Yarns Airy in the Love and Happiness colorway. It is 420 yards. It is 70% merino, 20% kid mohair, and 10% silk. I got this in a knit crate box actually, and I loved it so much I went back on to when they have their double down procedures, and I bought a whole lot more. So there's a couple of these that I've bought with Knit Crate just because I love them so much. That is one good thing about Knit Crate, where I can where I can buy things and I can try them out, and I really enjoy the fact that I learn different companies that I might not normally run into, and it's for a flat rate, which I really enjoy. So that is Cloud Drift with my cat eating it. Good Lord. Okay. The next one is another me design, and this is called Your Mala. So Cloud Drifts is designed from an Australian perspective. For me, it reminds me of a hurricane. The twisting of the yarn together, yarn over, knit together. It reminds of a hurricane, of a storm. It reminds me of ocean. For me, it's very much natural events that happen in Australia. I feel as though I design from two different levels or two different angles. I design from my experiences and my views as an Australian, and I also design from someone who has inherited a Latvian culture. So I'm not a Latvian. I am ethnically Latvian. I am descended from Latvia, but I can't say that I'm Latvian because I don't live there, and I don't have the same shared experiences as a Latvian does. But I have been raised being told, you're Latvian, you're Latvian, you're Latvian, you're Latvian, by my parents so many times, my father and my grandmother, that for me, it's still part of my culture. It's still part of who I am. And so I went there in 2018 on sort of like a family pilgrimage to go back to like the motherland and find out everything. Me and my sisters went together, and my dad and my grandma, and it was amazing. It was utterly life-changing, and I learned so much more about myself. And so I found that the designs that I knit for there are based more on research or more on observation of what I can see there. And so I find that quite different in the way that I connect to that culture. So this is Your Mala. It is based on the idea of a beach. So in Australia, our beaches are very varied. In the west of Australia, we actually have the best beaches, and someone from Sydney can come at me for that. Come fight me. I don't care. I will win. We have the best beaches here. If you would like, I am going to be traveling around Australia a little bit. So I'm going to be going up to Broome, which is in the northwest of Australia, for where my sister lives. And I have a friend coming over in July, and we're going to be doing a road trip around the southwest. So if you would like, I would love to do a vlog for you guys and show you the experiences that I'm having in my most beautiful country, because I love Australia so much, that you'll see, and I will prove to you that our beaches are definitely the best. So in Australia, we have sun meets sand meets surf. It's blue and white and bright and delightful. And I went to the beach in Latvia in summer, and it was interesting because Latvia is bordered by a sea, not an ocean. Their tides don't really make much of a difference. And so it was kind of what I would call dirty sand. It wasn't like the white sand, the white fine sand that I'm used to in Australia. It was a lot grayer. The waves were not really waves. They were just lapping, I think. I'm sounding very spoiled as I'm saying this, and I realize that, but I think I am spoiled. In Australia, we've got the best beaches, and so I expect everything else to live up to the expectations of Australian beaches, and when they don't, they don't. So Your Mala has a place of a lot of significance to my grandmother. She really loves it, and so in talking to her, I kind of realized a lot more about where she has connected and what she's lost, because she moved to Australia when she was very, very young, and she didn't speak English, and she was an immigrant because of World War II, and the way that she's experienced life and the things that she's lost. So when she goes back to Latvia, she connects with them so much deeper, I think really influenced the way that I saw and that I perceived everything. So this is Your Mala. let me just move this down a little bit. Ooh, hello. Okay, let me move back. Whoop. So this is your mala. It is a jumper. It's meant to be very casual because honestly the beach was casual waves, so it deserves something casual, I think. I wanted it to be something that you could wear to an office, but that's more for not like winter. It's more of a, autumn or spring moving into that cooler area. So this is out of Lana Gatto class. I actually bought this in Latvia. I went to a beautiful little yarn store and there was just this beautiful array of this and I was feeling everything against my cheek because that's how I tend to test if I can wear it. If I want to wear it, I rub it against my neck on my cheek and I see if it's soft and delightful. And this was the one that came out on top because I loved it so much and I asked for a sweater quantity worth and I am not very good at converting between Australian to Euro, so I had no idea how much I paid, but I'm pretty sure it was too much. But it's beautiful and worth it, so I love it. So this, in this beautiful pale blue, which again reminds me of Latvia in a lot of ways. So I wanted it to be almost a squarish kind of neck. It does have short rows at the back, not in the ribbing, but actually in the base of the neck, just to, again, heighten at the back. I thought I would do an interesting construction. Instead of doing a raglan, which you increase 2 every second row. Sorry, you increase 4 every second row. I decided to increase 2 every row. So it's the same amount of increases, it's just a different way of doing it. This is a lazy 8-stitch cable every 24 stitches. I think it's actually every 25 the way that I'm doing it. Why not? Make it a bit different. So this, I actually started it at a musical production when I went there with my best friend, and trying to cable in the dark is not very fun. Trying to short row in the dark is also not very fun. But I proceeded and I worked through it and I'm so happy with it because I just think it is utterly gorgeous. So I'll put it on and I'll show you what it looks like. I don't know about you, but it's always so scary trying to put it on when you've got needles still in. I always am so scared I'm going to lose so many stitches. Okay, so the neck is quite broad, and I thought it would be good for any kind of shirt. So it's not gonna pinch and prod at any kind of shirt that you wear to, again, an event, the office, casually on the weekends, whatever. It's going to be nice. These sleeves, I love the way that they kind of point down, actually. So I'm going to continue knitting them. I'm going to do this under the arm as a decrease, and this one I'm going to continue that side seam as that increase, so it's going to continue going. That is going to create a point. So it's going to end up probably about here, just over my elbow. Oh, it's very ashy today. So it's going to end up almost in a point over my elbow. My 2 favorite jumpers that I wear religiously in kind of that bridging in gap, even in winter, because Australian winters are so mild, and working indoors, I get heaters all the time. So I don't tend to wear big, thick jumpers. So the 2 jumpers that I wear pretty much religiously are sleeves up to about just past my elbow. And so I wanted this to be that same length. It has absolutely no waist shaping because I wanted this to be the feature. I really wanted this to be off center as well. And just to kind of attract the eye as it tracks down your body, but without looking at any lumps and bumps that you might want to hide. So for me personally, I'm quite conscious of my stomach and I hate how I look sometimes in some jumpers as they kind of cling to my stomach. Even I've got, I cut in quite heavily at the waist in profile view, but on the side, I feel as though my stomach is noticeable and I'm not a fan. I'm not a small girl by any stretch of the imagination, but I dislike my stomach in particular. So something that's going to flow over it rather than cinch in and accent that, I wanted it to be really beautiful. So I love it. I'm really such a fan. Okay, the next things. So try and take this off. Ooh, hello. Okay, the next thing was a brief detour. from what I had intended. So I've got a list of things to do, things to knit. I now have babies being born. Sorry, I had to sneeze. I've now got a few babies being born. Both my best friend is trying, and I'm so excited. And my cousin is currently pregnant. So I'm going to be looking at a couple of different baby blankets. I think I found one. Actually, I've got it with me. This one here. So from the Matter Anthology by Carrie Bostic Hogue. So it is, if I can find it, it's this one, the Camilla blanket. So it's actually behind the beautiful little top. If I've got time, I might actually make this one as well, just for a baby, because I think it's so cute. But the blanket, I'm always so conscious of baby fingers that they're going to get caught in something, and that they're going to pull or rip. I don't care about the blanket. I care about the baby fingers. So I really wanted this to be something that would be beautiful, would be like an heirloom almost, or something to cherish. Would be hard wearing, so I'm going to look at what I can make it with, but something that's going to not hurt the baby either. So I'm very conscious of all of the different prerequisites that I need to have. But this is the nicest one that I can see, that looks the most beautiful, that suits both a girl and a boy, depending on the color scheme, because we don't know what they are yet, obviously. So that is my intended. And while I was researching that, I decided that I really wanted to knit cables, because, of course, when you're researching a baby blanket, cables are the first thing to come to my mind. So I had previously in a yarn fiber share package. So if you don't know what fiber share is, it's where people from around the world, they send each other parcels or packages made up of yarn, and it's a really lovely way of making new friends. I've done it both domestically, so within Australia, and internationally. And I've just made so many beautiful people and beautiful connections, and I'm so grateful. I've got so many things that have been given to me, and this was one. So this is a Cascade 128, which is a superwash merino. It's quite chunky, the Aran weighting, and I love this color. It is just glorious. And so it was staring at me for a while, and I had to do something with it. I just got tired of it yelling at me, silently, but in my head. And so I decided to knit something with it. I found on Ravelry a free pattern, and it is the braided cable beanie. And I will link that down below, of course, with everything else that I talk about. And I decided to make this beanie, but I'll show you the problem. The ribbing is beautiful, and then this is so big, and so it's like a beret. And I'm not into berets, I'm into beanies. And I feel like they're very different. So I think the unofficial title of this episode is going to be Astrid doesn't listen to Gauge and does whatever the heck she wants. Because I did not care about the gauge. I have reknit this now 5 times because I really want to knit a cable beanie, but I also don't know what I'm doing. If I actually slowed down and thought about what I was doing, it would be so much easier. But this was knit during the move, and I wanted to have something that I could just sit there and just do. And so I feel like all my brain power has been used for the move or for researching what I'm going to be teaching my students this coming year. And it hasn't really actually been in paying attention to anything. So now I'm in trouble because I haven't paid attention to anything. So this, I absolutely love it. I love the color. I love the texture, the braided there. I just think it is so beautiful, and I'm such a fan. But I need to downsize it again and reknit it in needles that are actually going to suit my head. So hopefully next episode I can show you a beautiful completed beanie. But right now it's a beret, and I'm not a fan. Speaking of, where are they? Whoop. Sorry, my balls are rolling around everywhere. My ball of wool, sorry. Speaking of not paying attention to gauge and not listening to instructions, Socks. So last episode, I spoke to you about the fact that I really wanted to start a sock, and then I did start a sock. And it was, look, the yarn is absolutely, utterly delightful. It's, again, by Tony Toadstool Cottage or Jane Marty. And I'm such a fan of what she does. I think she does it absolutely beautifully. This is caught in a zip. There we go. So this is a sock yarn. It's kind of tweedy. I'm pretty sure it's a BFL. I've lost the tag, which is not great. So I'm using the Tin Can Knits Rye Light sock pattern, and I really love it. I've actually got quite big feet, so I find any pattern that starts with cast on 64 stitches, I'm like, nah, it's not going to fit. So this one I think is more 72. I'm actually quite large for a woman. I've got quite large feet, so I needed to make sure it's going to be something nice. Now, I love the way this is turning out. So that purple popping with the mustard, which has the purple inside it, with the brown, I just think this is absolutely beautiful. I first started this on needles that were too small. I couldn't find my needle gauge because I packed everything up and it was just kind of everywhere, and I just couldn't figure out where everything was. So I decided to push on ahead and give it a go. Not a good idea. So I started it and it looked like horror, just a horror show. And I tried to put it on my foot and it wouldn't even get above my ankle. Like, it was just not working. Like, over my heel, it was not working. And that was the stretchiest part. So I ripped it back, started it again, and I have to say, this pattern is incredible. I really, really, really love it. I love that fact that I can do it in a movie cinema. I've been watching a lot of movies over these holidays, and it's been really good just for unlimited knitting time. And so I could watch these, do these while watching Little Women, which was, oh my goodness, so beautiful. And if I don't make Mommy's shawl, something's wrong. It's going to be in a couple of years, but I have to make it. It's beautiful. So knitting these homespunny feeling socks, hand knitting them in a movie, which was a book which was read to me when I was a little girl while my mum was creative. Like, it just all tied so many things in. And so I've knit these and I'm very happy with them. I continued going on to the foot. Turns out I also can't read instructions, as well as not getting gauge. By the time I actually got gauge, I couldn't read the instructions. So I probably knit halfway down the foot before realizing there's decreases in there and I need to actually do decreases because it was looking very funny in my foot. So now I've ripped back to here. The other problem, I don't like long socks. I don't like socks. I don't like knitting socks. I'm enjoying knitting these because I love the colors, but I'm not enjoying knitting them because I don't like socks. I find these needles are really small and my hand almost cramps up while I'm doing them. Something like your Mala, which is quite thick, or that beanie, which is quite thick, I really love. But these ones, they're too fiddly and I'm really struggling. So I want to get them finished because they're so beautiful and I want to wear them. I just don't know how that's going to happen or when it's going to happen. So these are going to be an ongoing work in progress forever, I think. But they are beautiful and I love looking at them and trying them on. So maybe every time I try them on, I'll knit a couple more rows and it'll happen very slowly. Okay. The last two for works in progress. And then there's more. Told you this is going to be a long one. So this one is Paradise. This one, again, is from an Australian perspective. This is a singlet. It is made out of Knit 1 Crochet 2 in the Daisy, which is, I've written it down, 38% linen, 32% silk, and 30% hemp. It's really interesting feeling. It is noticeable with any mistakes or any uneven tension, but I'm hoping that once I've woven on all the ends and blocked it out and I'm going to let it hang, I think, and just kind of see how that goes. That light, there we go. I'm going to, let it sit a bit nicer and just see how that goes. And it should be beautiful and glorious. This is definitely an over the bathers or summertime tank kind of pattern. It is not an office wear at all. The lace actually ends just above, probably like mid bust. Like it's like maybe an inch above your like bottom, like where your brow line would hit. so many hand gestures. I'm sorry, guys. But it is, yeah, it's really beautiful and really delicate. And I wanted it to be more lace than I did stockinette. So I really wanted the lace to be the feature. This lace reminds me of butterflies, which is why I named it Paradise. So when I was little, my mum took me to the zoo. And now I hate the zoo because it scares me and it makes me really sad that animals are in tiny enclosures. But when I was little, the Perth Zoo of Western Australia had this butterfly enclosure, and you could walk in and butterflies would land on you. And I just remember thinking, this is beautiful and glorious and wonderful, and I loved it so much. We had season passes. We used to go there that often. And so the lace in here remind me of butterflies, and they also remind me a little bit of flowers. So when I was knitting this, I did the bulk of it in Bali in Indonesia for my cousin's wedding. And Bali is literally a paradise. It's just green and glorious. And I like saying this word, don't I? It is, yeah, it's just beautiful. It is very lush and very ripe. There's lots of, it's in the tropics, so it's very tropical fruit. There's monkeys and there's different sounding bugs and frogs to where I have in my life in back in Perth. So it was really beautiful to experience that. So I knit this mostly literally in Paradise. So I decided to name it Paradise. I need to finish it. I actually cast it off on the plane when I cast on cloud drifts. So I need to finish this. I need to weave in all the ends, and then I need to write it up. As I kind of, in the time that I finished it, I changed my phone, and I had a lot of details of this on my phone, and I've lost a lot of that. So now it's going to be a masterclass in reading your own knitting, because reading lace I find quite tricky, but I want to get this written up and published. So I'm really excited for the challenge. I think it's going to be really fun. The last one is a brand new cast on, and I you could even say it's not even a thing because I technically haven't cast on the main thing, but I've done a lazy gauge swatch because I've learnt from my mistakes. So Jessie May is doing a knit along in 2020, and it's called Jessie May D Along 2020. And it's for any pattern of hers that you would like to knit. So this is the framework bralette, the ripple bralette, the sheer V tops, the diaphanous blouse, any of those, and so many more because she's an amazing designer. I love the fact that she's so size inclusive, that she models her own things as well, that she's just so confident. I really admire that, or at least it seems that she's quite confident, and I really admire it. So I'm using this wool, this yarn. I have no idea where I got it from, what it is, what's inside, what it's made of. I just love it. I'm going to be making the framework bralette. I'm hoping that this works and that I've got enough here. This is my lazy gauge swatch because I'm scared about how much I don't have. You're meant to knit a 4 inch by 4 inch or 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter, and I've just done a cross because, to be perfectly honest, I'm confident adding in extra rows or decreasing extra rows if I need to take them in or out of the lines up here. But I'm not confident if the actual stitch count is off, then I don't know how to replicate that for what I would like. I do think that this is going to be too big, that my needles are actually going to be a size up, but in that case, I'm going to size it down a size in the pattern. So I think that takes me to knitting like a small or something, which I've never knit a small in my life. So I'm going to enjoy that because that's fun. But yeah, we'll see how we go. So this is a knit along that is until March 2020. So I'm hoping to start it literally as soon as this video is finished. I'm going to start this officially. And so if you would like to join along with me, if you're already joined along, let me know. I'd love to champion you on Instagram, which is where this is being hosted, because I just think this is so beautiful and such a great way of celebrating a designer who's quite prolific and quite beautiful. So that's my last cast on. Not even technically a cast on, but I feel like if you've done a gauge swatch, then you've cast it on, and that I need to learn that for everything else. Okay. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is quite serious, and I don't want this to come across as trite or rude or inconsiderate or insignificant or like I'm making a bigger deal of it than it is. And so I'm very conscious of the gravity of this situation. If you don't know, Australia's on fire. Australia has been on fire since before my birthday. So my birthday's in September and the fire started in early September. This is getting worse. This is because of climate change. This is because of ineffective action by our politicians. This is because arsonists are dicks. It's a better word I want to use, but I'm on YouTube and I probably shouldn't. But arsonists are dicks. And this is something that is very frightening and very real and only going to get worse. I know that we're not the only country who has these. I've actually just recently found out that Africa has the highest rate of bushfires in the world, that California and Alaska have been on fire for a long time. So my dad and my stepmom went to Alaska and it was on fire. Like, I have a mental image of Alaska as snow and like bears, not fire. And it's frightening that this world is continuing to get worse and continuing to raise and continuing to heat up, and it's becoming dangerous. These fires affect me, not personally, and so I feel as though I'm not claiming them. I'm not claiming the hurt that's been done by them. I'm not claiming to know. I'm not claiming to understand, because I don't. But I do have friends in highly affected areas. I do have family that are struggling to breathe in some urban cities because the pollution is so great. I do have friends who live in a town which has evacuation warnings regularly, and that they literally have a box of prized possessions and clothes that they need to grab and go. I do know that they have had to make careful consideration of what pets to get, because they need to make sure that they can get them out in time. So while I personally have never been affected, while I personally have never had to fear of fire destroying my house, my belongings, my things, my life, I do know people who have, and I am very aware that this is only going to become worse. When I decided to design a new pattern, and I'm going to show you eucalyptus in a second. When I decided to design a new pattern, it was because I love the eucalyptus trees in Australia. There are many in many different varieties and leaf forms and flowers and seed pods, and they are just beautiful. Some of them can be up to 60 meters high, which unfortunately is a danger because of the fires. So they have a lot of leaf litter and bark litter that comes down to the bottom at the ground, and this catches fire quite easily. Then the fire can shoot straight up the eucalyptus trees, and because they're so heavily full of oil, they burn very easily, and then it gets to the leaves and the crown catches fire. And unfortunately, if the wind is correct, the crowns can actually be on fire faster than the leaf litter down the bottom. So you can actually have a fire traveling faster than the rest of the fire is. And this is really dangerous, obviously. Eucalyptus gums, also, they can fall, and I've had a couple of friends whose houses have been kind of destroyed because the branches have fallen on part of their roof and actually torn down part of the house. So all in all, beautiful trees, kind of dangerous. 3 out of 10 recommend for living near. But they are beautiful and they're wonderful, and I love them. And every time I drive past, there's a couple on my route, and I drive past them, and I just, every time I go, like, they capture me in this beautiful way. So I decided to knit and design a scarf. It's kind of a shawl scarf. So this is eucalyptus. I'm sure you've seen it. I did post it up on Instagram a couple of times. And I love it. I think it's beautiful, but I'm a bit sad now that for me the meaning has changed. So if I take you through it, it starts off with a twisted rib stitch, and then it moves into a leaf lace. So the leaves here are long, elongated, or pointy, which is like one of my favorite eucalyptus leaves. So these ones here, you can scrunch them together, and they smell like that mentholy vapor rub almost, and they're just beautiful. Like, I love that smell. So we used to do that on the way home from school. Then here I've got some nubs, and they are representing the seed pods or little seeds. In one eucalyptus, they've got these big, beautiful silver leaves, and they've got these big gum nuts that are quite hefty. If you throw them at someone, it's going to hurt. Again, childhood coming out here. And they're quite hefty, and they've got these kind of flatter leaves. And then you've got other ones like the leaves here, which are a lot longer. And between the leaves, you kind of got these little tiny seeds that also kind of pop up. And they're really beautiful. So in all eucalyptus leaves, these seed pods are in all eucalyptus trees, these seed pods are very important. One of the other problems that comes with these eucalyptus trees is that after a fire, the seeds actually release. So the native people of Australia, the Indigenous people of Australia, which are the first Australians, they were here before the modern narrative of Australia begins. And they have so many practices and so many ways of rejuvenating this land. And one of them did include fire. And so they would burn things on purpose, obviously controlled, obviously kept, careful guard and careful watch, because this is their land, their life that they're burning. But it would rejuvenate the land, and the land would throw forth seeds and throw forth life. And that's something that I really want from these fires, and even from this scarf, in a very small way. So then after the little seeds, it's another twisted rib for more of the bark, and then it's got the flatter leaves, again, for the different kind of eucalyptus trees. So this, come here. I really, really, really like it. Oh, caught on my earring. Hello. There we go. So I love this scarf, and I was wanting to release it around now, but I wanted it to be like a celebration of the eucalyptus trees and how much I love it. And then we lost 2 firemen. At the time of releasing this, we had lost 2 releasing this pattern, I should say. We had lost 2 firemen, and countless lives, countless people, countless homes, countless cities were destroyed, and will never be the same again. Cannot ever be the same again. And I was at a loss of what to do. So I don't have a lot of skills. I'm not great at cooking. I mean, I can cook, but I'm not good at feeding the masses. I don't have empty, endless wallets that I can just throw money at people. I have a loud voice, but I don't know what to say. And that's hard for me because I always know what to say. So, at one point, people where I live, where my best friends live, they were on high alert. Where my family lived, they actually had an arsonist come by, and again, we're on high alert, and I didn't know what to do. So I decided to release this pattern and give some of the proceeds towards a charity, and that's all I know how to do. I mean, I know how to knit, and I'm kind of good at it, so I wanted to use that skill and give it back to people. I always talk about which side of me my designs come from. So this is obviously Australian. Yamala is Latvian, and it's the reason that I talk about that is because I actually donate to charities through the proceeds of these. So originally it was just going to be 10% because I didn't know how much I was going to make. And so the Australian side, I donate to a charity called the Smith Family, and they donate towards children going to school. So as my experience as a teacher, I have definitely found that school is the best way to break the cycle of poverty. If a child is educated, they are much less likely to go into poverty. So the higher up their education goes, the less likely to go back into poverty. I think statistically, if people are married before they have children, they have a stable house. Doesn't have to be bought, but have a stable house. They have at least higher education, and this could just be finishing year 12. And they have a stable work job, and they get along, and they have a proper marriage and all that. They are more likely to stay together than if you take one of those factors away. I mean, it kind of makes sense, but for me, education underpins everything, and I've seen firsthand opportunities open up because of education, and children who their parents never even graduated year 9 and then they finished year 9, and I saw the pride in their family, and they changed their family tree. Like, these are kids I've taught. These are my kids. And I'm so passionate. I don't know if you can tell. I'm so passionate about this that I wanted to give back. So 10% of the proceeds of all my Australian Australian designs go towards that charity. And then towards Latvia, there's one called Giving for Latvia. Now, unfortunately, Latvia struggles. It's still a developing nation. And it's got a lot of heartache, I think is a good way to put it. And so a lot of the charities, I couldn't trust that. And also, I don't speak Latvian. I don't read Latvian. So reaching out was very difficult. There was that language barrier. And a lot of the times I couldn't trust that the money I would send them would be going towards who they said they were helping. So I researched a bit wider, and I found a charity called Giving for Latvia, which is UK based. But I can trust them. I can talk to them, which is, so much more helpful. And I can trust that the money that I send, is your money. You're giving it to me you're supporting me, and therefore you're supporting these charities. So I know now that that money is going towards them. I decided that 50% of the proceeds of this would go towards a charity to do with Australian bushfires. And so I released that I was going to do it for Red Cross. Now, unfortunately, I've since found out through several different sources that the Red Cross are not a charity that I wish to support. I wanted to make sure that I was supporting a charity that would be benefiting the people who are directly affected, not providing more equipment, but actually providing help for the people. That it would, there's so much awareness for animals, but the people sometimes get left over. And so I wanted to really support the people. And yeah, I just wanted to make sure I was doing it right, I guess. So 50% of these proceeds are now going to be going towards the Bendigo Bank bushfire appeal. And that has 100% of the donations going towards those directly affected. So it hits all my buttons, and it checks out everything I wanted it to do. Since deciding this, though, and then I'm so thankful for the sales, guys. This isn't about the sales. This is about me using an opportunity to help others, and you, through me, helping others as well. But it is through sales that I get this means to be able to do this project. And so I'm so grateful to everyone who's bought it, who has shared it, who's already started knitting it. It's just been amazing. And so, yeah, I've been able to raise a bit of money, and so I'm going to be donating, and then obviously putting that up quite publicly, because, like I said, it's your money that you're using for me that are going to then go towards these charities. So in deciding to do 50%, I looked at the sales and I realized I could do more. So now 20% instead of 10 are going to go to the different charities. So for this one, 70% of the proceeds are going to go, not the profits of all the money, are going to go to these charities. So I really wanted to make sure that I'm stewarding your money right. I'm using your money correctly, because it is your money. It is the right thing to do, I think. It's really hot. I'm sorry. I'm going to take this off. So that is my eucalyptus scarf. It is 80 centimeters along this edge, and then it is 150 across the two others. So it's a triangle, isosceles triangle, I think, because it's an ice cream one. Yeah, isosceles triangle. Look at me. Yay, math. It is kind of a sampler of different techniques with the nuts, with the lace, with the ribbing. It has charted and written lace, because I personally hate charts and I love it written, but I know people are the opposite, so I wanted to make sure I've got it in there for everyone. It uses about 400 yards of wool, of yarn, of whatever you like, and it is best in a tonal or variegated. As you can see, it's just glorious and gorgeous and squishy, beautiful. I do have a public apology to make, though. So I published it and should have read over it better. I have since edited it and fixed it, but I do have to apologize to everyone who started knitting it and then realized it doesn't make any sense. To those of you who have caught my math errors, because I need to do that better. I felt like I should have done this better. I didn't feel in a rush to put it out, but I did want to put it out at a key time, which would then be able to get the most amount of benefit. So I apologize because I should have done it better. I should have done my job better, really. And so next time I can promise to you that everything I do from here on out will be not only test knit, but also tech edited correctly. So that is my apology and my promise to you. Okay, so it is the last few minutes, and I wanted to show you a few beautiful things. So the first one, I went to Knit Pearl Boutique in Kalamunda, which incidentally is one of those towns that, or cities that, like small cities, that has had a fire warning recently. And I had to go change over, oh, hello. Sorry, too many earrings and my hair gets caught. I had to go change over a cable. So I bought a cable and then I bought the needles and they didn't match up. One was too big, one was too small. It got a bit confusing. So I went back and I was more than happy to go buy the new cables or needles as I needed, because obviously that's the right thing to do. And the owner of the store, who is absolutely beautiful, she was more than happy to swap them over for me, giving me time to go shopping. So I found these. Now these are Malabrigo. They're even more happy in this light. So this is Malabrigo Makita, Mechita. It is 100% merino superwash. It's 100 grams and 420 yards or 385 meters. So these two are the same colorway, and they are Granada, and this one is Lava. Now I knew that I wanted to have these two, but I wanted something in the middle of them, just as that beautiful contrast. The other one I was looking at was quite orange, but I really love the deep rust and the darkness of this. I just think that they complement each other so nicely. So this is my new stash acquisition, and shout out to Knit Pearl Boutique as well, because you are incredible and I love you. I love going there all the time. Okay, I do have Happy Squishy mail, but I won't show you that today, because I'm also waiting on something from Knit Crate. So I thought that maybe I would just wait and I would do my patience test, and I would wait until I get the Knit Crate one, and then I'll show you those together. Yes, I think I'll do that. So the last thing I wanted to show you is basically telling you how great my mum is. So my mum is human form of perfection in my eyes. She is absolutely wonderful. She has raised me and my sisters basically as a single mum a whole life, and she is just my biggest support, my greatest encouragement. I love her and she's just amazing. So my mum, I think I get a lot of my creativity from her. She knits, not very well, but she does knit. She sews, she cross stitches, and she has started getting into quilting. So she pieces all the quilts together and then sends them off to go be created. So one time for my birthday, she gave me like a little stash of fabrics, and I was like, oh, thank you. I don't sew. What am I going to do with these? And she was like, I'm going to make you a beautiful blanket. Well, she didn't say beautiful, but it was beautiful. So I was like, oh, awesome. Thank you. I'd love this. And this is it. So, which way? This way. This is the quilt that my mum made for me. It's a little big to show you on a tiny screen. But this is the quilt. It has lots of love hearts. And inside the love hearts are either other love hearts or everything to do with knitting. There's bears with knitted jumpers on them. There are yarn balls, more yarn balls, more yarn balls. Like, it's just beautiful. And at the back of this is her old bed sheet. And I love it because it means that she's always with me wherever I go. So I'm scared to use this blanket because what if I get it dirty? My mum sees it the other way. She says that I don't like it because I don't use it, but I'm genuinely terrified to use it and get it dirty. I'm so worried that this is going to rip or tear or that something bad's going to happen to it. I'm very conscious of that and I'm very nervous. So yeah, it's beautiful. And it has a point, I promise. I'm not just talking at my mum, although, you know, I can do that all day. So this year, for Christmas, my mum gave me more fabric. And this time, it didn't look like something that she would make into a blanket. And I was a bit confused. So she gave me this fabric, which is cats and Christmas and music, and it's so cute. It's just adorable. So I have been in love with cats for a long time. They're just beautiful. And my mum said to me, she said, I will make this into a bag for you. What kind of a bag would you like? And I have no idea. I've been following Joji Locatelli for a while, and now that she started to sew, I think she's kind of inspired me to start sewing as well, although she's like, oh, I'm just a beginner, I don't know what I'm doing, and then comes out this beautiful, like, tailor-made jumper or, you know, jacket or coat, and I'm just like, yeah, cool, of course you don't know what you're doing. She's just wonderful. And so I said to Mum, these bags, so I screenshot a couple of Instagram posts from Joji Locatelli's bag line, and I said to Mum, this is the kind of thing I would like. So I want something with a pocket. So Mum gave me something with a pocket. I want something that's a bit deep that I can put a sweater quantity in. I want something with a drawstring, and I want something with a handle. Now I did ask for the handle just to kind of go over, because I don't really need it to be so big. It's more something that I would hold in my hand, so like a handheld bag instead of like a carry handbag. So Mum made this for me, and of course, like, I'm so grateful, and I'm sounding a bit like a petulant child, and I don't mean to. I love it, and I've been using it to carry around Yumala because it's just so beautiful. But Mum also gave me these. So these ones are from the leftovers of the quilt that she made me, which is why I showed it to you. And she took on the feedback because she was a bit like, I'm not sure how you feel about the handle. And I kind of was like, yeah, not so sure about the handle. And so she decided to take on my feedback, and she tried it again. So she made a wider pocket inside the bag, which is good for all my needles and notions and, you know, gauge swatch and rulers like I need to actually bring. She used rope as a drawstring just to really kind of make it quite hardy, which I really love. I love, no bag that you can buy has rope. Like, it's so unique, and I really like that. And then she put on a little handle, which I love. So this is perfect for exactly what I want. I can now, you know, hold it on my wrist, and it doesn't kind of go anywhere. It's a perfect size, perfect width, perfect body. It's got the like side darts, so you can actually lay it, like stack it on the ground. It doesn't just have to kind of flop there. It'll sit up. It's absolutely beautiful. But again, it's white, and now I'm terrified of getting it dirty. So this is the second thing that my mum has made me that I'm so scared to use because it's so beautiful. Like, what if I damage it? What if I get it ruined? Yeah, I'm a bit scared. So do you ever feel this way? Do you ever feel like you're scared to use the precious things, the good things? I mean, I know I've got some amazing wool. Actually here I've got some Louisa Harding that for me is just so beautiful that I'm terrified to use it. What if I use it wrong? Like, can you even use it wrong if you make something beautiful out of it? I don't know, but I'm scared to try. So does anyone else feel this way? Let me know, because I'd like to be not alone in this. The last thing I wanted to talk to you about is a new to me designer, and her name is Ineze Sang. So we were talking about names because I was like, I'm going to do a podcast and I'm going to ask you about it, and I need to make sure I'm saying your name right, and I think I still butchered it. It's a French name, and so in America they just say Inez, and then in Latvia they add the E, so it's Ineze. She is Latvian and true Latvian, so as in when I say true Latvian, she speaks Latvian, she's from Latvia. I really love her designs because, like I said, my designs are more from an inherited culture, whereas hers are from a lived culture, and I feel like they're quite different. She's recently designed these beautiful mittens called Sarma. Yes, Sarma mittens. And I think yesterday she just dropped her hat, which complements them, and they are beautiful. So Sarma means hoarfrost, to do with winter in Latvia, and it's so beautiful, guys. You have to go have a look at them. So she is Isang Knits, ISANGKNITS on Instagram, or Ineze Sang on Ravelry. And I just wanted to give her a shout out because she has supported me a little bit in my knitting when I first released Our Cyclists. And I just think that her designs are beautiful. So I I think everyone with beauty needs to be admired and recognized and lifted up. So, I'm sorry it was so long today. It's now an hour, and I'm sorry. But I hope that this was good and that you saw, that you enjoyed seeing a slice into my life, my world, my mind, my mathless skills. And yeah, let me know what you think. Okay, bye.